Dr. Jerome Corsi is reporting the headline, Did Americans Help Plot Kenyan Terror Attack? Al-Qaeda affiliate claiming responsibility actively recruits in the U.S. and is backed by Obama, I would add. Obama, through different family members, cousins, and half-brothers, is running the jihadi invasion and takeover of North Africa and the Middle East out of Kenya. This came out a month ago in our broadcast. WorldNet Daily's been covering it. And we now are getting a very clear picture of exactly the plan they've got. And clearly, the White House is involved running the radical groups out of Kenya, all over the Saudi Arabia. Dr. Corsi broke all this a month ago on this very broadcast. How they're running the entire jihad operation out of Kenya with his half-brother and Odinga and others, ladies and gentlemen. This is a plan, carving up the world.
Share this video with a friend.
You at WorldNet Daily and others, I know, have been the ones breaking this, and as fantastical as it appears, is it as bad as it looks to me, sir?
I think you're correct, Alex. I think you're right on. I mean, let's just dissect a little bit of this Kenya violence. First of all, you got to understand that the Somalis, remember the Somalis are the warlord, kind of unlawful, unruled country that we invaded when the Black Hawk down during the Clinton. That's Somalia. Somalia has been having Muslim terrorists pour into Kenya since Obama took office. I mean, I reported going back into 2007 when Obama was running for office. You remember that Odinga, who is the tribal clansman, and of course we've got tribal relations in Kenya that are very important. The tribal kinsman, Odinga, signed an agreement with the Muslims in Kenya, the National Muslim Leaders Forum, NAMLEF, in 2007, that if Odinga, who was then running for president, were supported by the Muslims, when Odinga got in, he would do everything he could, including revising the Constitution, to favor Islam.
And Obama advised him, as your book broke down with the emails, on how to stage riots so they'd give him a prime ministership instead of the presidency when he lost. So bottom line, I should have quantified this. This is basically Obama behind jihadis connected to this attack. This is unbelievable.
And it was Obama's plan that when Odinga lost the presidential election at the end of 2007, these riots, which were against the majority tribe and the Kikuyu in Kenya, which Odinga, on behalf of the Luo, which is Obama's tribe, were raising. This was also one of fueling the open avenue for jihadists to pour into Kenya, because Odinga was the Islam-supported candidate in that election. And if you recall, remember they burned Christians in churches, the Luo did, and they, on behalf of Odinga.
So they're using Al-Qaeda worldwide as the proxy war to take over all these countries in North Africa and now into Kenya, as you predicted 6 years ago, as Dr. Tarpley predicted in the Obama deception. This has been a plan. You have all the documents. How do they think they're going to get away with this?
And I want to get one more point on the record, too, because remember, Odinga lost the election in 2007, but he became co-head of state. Remember, he became prime minister, and that was arranged by Obama, together with Kofi Annan and the UN. They intervened, and they got Odinga made to be prime minister. Odinga then went and engineered this new Kenyan constitution, which again I reported on. Obama supported this with money. We're using U.S. foreign aid money to support the constitution being passed in Kenya. And the new constitution included additional rights for Islam, including rights to be ruled under Sharia law. The whole constitutional revision in Kenya was an open door to Somali terrorists to pour in to the country, and it was engineered by Obama working with Odinga to re-engineer the Constitution of Kenya.
What is the master plan? Because you said a month ago here, and you showed the court documents and the articles out of Egypt, and now it's happening that they're running the whole operation, the whole takeover, the money laundering out of Kenya.
That's right. Obama's brother, his half-brother Malik, and this has now come out, verified by the Egyptian government. The head of one of the heads of the Constitutional Court, that Malik Obama was running money for the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, and also running money for a terrorist organization out of northern Sudan, another terrorist state. Now, I've also reported and can confirm that criminal charges have been filed in Kenya, in Egypt, under Malik Obama in Kenya. And there's a subpoena out for him right now. The Egyptians, criminal authorities are seeking Malik to bring him, the brother of Obama, to bring him to justice in Kenya for working with terrorists to manage money, the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, and the northern Sudan terrorists, this Islamic Dawa organization that Malik also runs the money for. Now, people got to understand about Kenya, that Kenya has been predominantly a Christian country. I've been personally in the mall that's under attack in Kenya. I was there. It's a very beautiful open-air mall, and it's very vulnerable to a terrorist attack. The jihadis who are in Kenya today were invited in, open door, Obama Odinga, inviting them in from Somalia. They're known to be terrorists, and some of them are also recruited from the United States.
Doctor, let me stop you there, because this is a selfish question. I'm breaking this, you're breaking this, Drudge has been breaking some of it.
Yes.
Some talk radio, Glenn Beck to his credit's been covering it some. We're all in this together now. That's when I've really figured this out. I mean, this is not about being writers or being on TV or radio. This is about survival for this country at this point. I'm beginning to think this is a double cross. They're going to turn everything over to radical Muslims, and I've got reporters, not just my crew, but we're talking reporters who are actually being threatened by Saudi Arabian intelligence in Europe and the Middle East. And now I've got reporters, stuff out of movies, where guys get around them and start saying, video of them saying, nice family. And I just thank God it didn't happen to me, because I'd have got really mad. Have you been threatened? What is your security like? I mean, what do you think of our reports of Saudi Arabia threatens to end career of AP reporter? I mean, I'm getting sick of this.
I think it's accurate. I think what you're reporting is correct. I also think you're ahead of the curve and correct. We've reported it on WND as well, but the Saudis are behind the Islamic jihadists. The Saudis are funding and are supporting Al-Qaeda. These are wars that are largely over oil. They're over the price of oil. I agree with you there too, Alex.
Well, why are they so mad at us then?
Well, because, see, Obama has carried the water for the Al-Qaeda. It started in Kenya before Obama was elected, when Obama and Odinga made this pact with the radical Islamicists in Kenya that was going to allow Al-Qaeda to come in the door through Somalia into Kenya, a predominantly Christian country. And when the violence occurred in Kenya, they called it tribal violence, which Odinga was using to gain power without reporting the Islamic nature of terrorism of this violence.
So Obama is lowering the drawbridge from Egypt to Syria, to Kenya, to Libya, to Central Asia, to everywhere, to bring in Al-Qaeda. This is high treason. What do we do?
Well, and we also, and Alex, you connect the dots. You also reported, we've reported, this is what Ambassador Stevens was doing coming into Benghazi before he was ambassador. He was running guns to Al-Qaeda and Islamic jihadists backed by Saudi Arabia to destabilize Gaddafi. The same way Obama welcomed in Morsi, who was elected president after the so-called Arab Spring, which was nothing about destabilizing northern Africa in favor of al-Qaeda and Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabian forces are behind this because Saudi Arabia wants to control the price of oil. Saudi Arabia does not want any challenge on that, including, a pipeline in the United States, which Obama is against, including a war on coal, which Obama is running. You got to understand the Saudis have managed to get the price of oil under Obama to over $100.
That's right. For those that don't know this, the Saudis are the biggest funders of shutting off the fact that we're coal rich. Well, of course, they don't want us having access to our own power. And I'm sick of being like, America is colonized by all these corrupt special interests. It's disgusting.
And the Saudis want to limit the amount of petroleum on the world market. They also want to eliminate the Shiites in Iran and would be happy to force us into a false flag war, CIA-supported war in Syria in order to go after Assad, who the United Nations has not said was the cause of the chemical weapons attack.
Sir, how big is it? How big is it that the military is listening to you and I and others, and that the Joint Chiefs went and told Obama no? How big is that?
I think it's huge. I think the military is listening to you, Alex. They're reading WND. The military is realizing that their lives have been put in harm's way again on lies, on, there were no weapons of mass destruction that we found with Saddam Hussein. Even going back to Gulf 91, fighting for Kuwait. Yes, Kuwait was very important to the Saudis, but Kuwait was not of national security significance. Kuwait was never going to attack the United States, or Saddam Hussein was never going to attack the United States with taking over Kuwait. But it was very important to the Saudis, and it proposed the need for false flags in wars which are going on today in Syria. And this is because, again, it would be the interest of the Saudis to see Assad gone, because Assad is an ally of Iran.
So of all these interests that want to bring down Syria and carve it up, is Saudi Arabia, they admit they're the ones paying for it.
They're paying for it. They're paying for it the same way they're paying for al-Qaeda. They're paying for al-Qaeda to destabilize Libya, Egypt, and now Kenya. They want al-Qaeda to destabilize the entire world in Middle East and in Africa.
This is so unbelievable. This is so incredible. Dr. Jerome Corsi is our guest. We're going to come back, and I'm going to give him the floor in the final segment to ask him, how are things going for Obama? Where is this fight going? What does he expect next? I feel a false flag. I see that as their trick. We'll be right back.